What's up, Giga Gamers? Welcome to the Strat Chat. Today we're going to galvanize your mind. We're going to be going over the 11.24 patch rundown, the final patch of the preseason. Here we go. All right, here we go. We're going to do the long version, full thing. We cordially invite you to an exquisite green tie debonair affair to celebrate the end of the year. We're keeping it classy this week with sophisticated champion, item, rune, and dragon updates to keep preseason running splendidly. Ultimate Spellbook is also getting a spiffy update. I can't do this in a British accent, please. And ARAM players, worry not. We have some swanky news for you too. So get your flashiest outfits ready to greet the new year in glitz and glam. It'll just be grand. I couldn't resist. Debonair dress code too strict for ya. Head over to the TFT patch notes. We'll check that out later. All right. Patch highlights. Camille getting nerfed, good. Axiomark did not need a nerf. Frostfire Gauntlet, even all of these were too good. Yes. Oh, okay. These were all too good. Glacial Augment still OP. Adjusted. Well, they say adjusted. Well, they buffed it for ranged characters. We'll see what goes on here. Buffs. Ooh, Caitlyn. But Kate Lux is already top tier. Ivern, Kayle, Samira, Twitch, Urgot. Well, you forget that champions like Kayle, Urgot, and Ivern just don't get played that much. So in the preseason, when everyone wants to try out different things, the play numbers on these champions are going to go down. So I don't really know if you needed to buff them, but we'll see. This item got a buff? Are you kidding me? What? The individual drakes by themselves are getting buffed? Interesting. Don't know that we needed that. Let's see. All right. Champions. Caitlyn headshot resets partially restored. Several attack resets on Caitlyn's headshots were removed during her ASU. These resets were notoriously difficult to maneuver and were not part of Caitlyn's original design. Technically, the headshots executed as abilities rather than empowered basic attacks, which is what allowed the bugged reset functionality. It wasn't sustainable, or healthy even, to keep her passive as is, so instead we're refactoring her headshot resets in a way that looks smoother and is easier to pull off. Very interesting. Healthier headshots. When Caitlyn targets an enemy marked by her W, Yordle Snaptrap, or E90 caliber net, her headshot partially resets, firing faster than a normal basic attack. Yeah, I mean, you used to be able to get, if you interrupted the animation of these things with an auto, you'd basically get an instant shot. Now it's just saying like, oh, you've done this thing, it's going to give you an attack speed buff, essentially for that one attack, I guess. Fixed a bug where fixed a bug where she was able to headshot enemies while being revived. Interesting. Camille, W damage decrease. This is going to affect her safe laning phase. E cooldown increased late. So fewer chances to get those all-in engages or to get that second one in the middle of a fight. Camille is a bit too mobile for the damage she dishes out, so we're limiting access to her dashes. We're also nerfing her trading tool so that she doesn't get such a free advantage in lane. I mean, her big trading tool is her Q. Let's not joke about it. People in the highest levels know that the increased attack range in the shield is what makes her broken. W tactical sweep. Outer cone bonus damage. 6 to 8 and 3.3% of the bonus AD. Losing a percent at all ranks. And 0.8 per bonus AD of the target's maximum. Wow, I mean, losing a percent across the board. This is still just a skill that you only want to put one point in generally. But, you know, in some of those worse matchups, you'd put like 3 points in it for the laning phase. Just to be able to poke while you were existing in lane. But, yeah, flat 1% across, that's a pretty big deal. Certainly, the amount healed is based off the amount dealt, so this is also affecting the amount you heal. So this is actually a pretty massive nerf. E hookshot, cooldown from 16 to 10, goes 16 to 12. That's not such a big deal. It's still going to be the useful setup tool in the early game. You're still going to be maxing Q, but this will affect your spikes at level 10 to 15. Ivern, Krug experience and gold rewards increased. Finally, setting the Krugs free doesn't just penalize you. Ivern loves all of his forest friends equally, but then push comes to shove, freeing the Krugs isn't really worth the effort. Krugs give significantly less golden experience than the other small jungle camps, even though it takes Ivern the same amount of time, mana, and health to free them. This ought to teach him how to say thanks. Passive, Friend of the Forest. Krug experience reward, going back up to basically the sum of all of them. I imagine, this is huge, right? You're going up to 180. That is a lot. You were going from 66 all the way to 180. That is a big deal. So you're getting full value out of the Krugs. This is going to change a lot of the paths. This is going to completely overhaul the game for Ivern one-tricks. I think Ivern one-tricks that are willing to go into Practice Tool and actually figure out what things they can and can't do are now going to have a huge reward. I think we're going to have new paths. What used to be a red into Gromp, blue, wolves, come back, get red, raptors, come back, clear the other side. You used to do this like little swivel on your side as a partial full clear. Not going to be as prevalent. It's not going to be as prevalent because now you're going to be able to weave in some paths that go to Krugs and really get the benefit of that. It's a huge buff. Absolutely enormous. Kale passive wave distance now scales with bonus attack range. After reaching level 11, if Kale has enough stacks, her basic attacks launch waves of fire that travel an extra distance and damage enemies they pass through. The distance these waves travel used to be a flat number. Now it will scale with her bonus attack range, which can be extended by other effects, such as her passive at level 16, or lethal tempo, or rapid fire cannon. The distance of the waves, while she was a Flame and Exalted or Transcendent, now scales with her bonus attack range. Okay, great. This is a buff to her level 16 for sure. It also potentially opens things up for a part of her like crit, rapid fire, and Ginsu's Rageblade build. Maybe just the crit build. They all get a little bit better. I think she's going to have a dandy old time. Kled and Skarl's health, and whoa, this is a big one. Hello. Kled and Skarl's health calculations changed. E cooldown reduced, AD ratio increased. Tank Kled has been optimal for a while. Yup, because of all the bonus health. Because of the massive bonus HP he gets from Skarl. We are adjusting how his health is calculated to make his playstyle healthier and more interesting. However, this will nerf some of his bruiser builds, so we're buffing his damage and cooldowns to compensate. Wow. We'll keep an eye on the Cantankerous duo after this change to monitor AD Kled's viability. Yeah, damn right. Holy crap. Bonus health. Skarl's base health is now going up in late levels. And it looks like 130 over the course of the game. That's not too much. It's about 7.5 per level. Obviously this can affect the fact. Well, let's get to it. All your base health are belong to Kled. Skarl's base health now counts towards Kled's base health, not Kled's bonus health. So no more huge bonuses on Sunfire or on Titanic Hydra. Those items will still be good, but not as good. All your bonus health are belong to Skarl. Any health items that Kled purchases will add to Skarl's health and count as a bonus health. Updated. Skarl, where you at? While unmounted, Kled will check whether Skarl's courage has been restored twice as often. Why not just do it infinitely, guys? Heroes of North figured this out in 2009. Why can't you do it? Basically, this is those edge cases where you got the red bar as if you had remounted, but you still died. Basically, because the courage had ticked up, you had done enough things to meet the prerequisites to remount, but you were in that window between ticks of a quarter second or whatever it was, where you need to get to here to remount, and you got to here and you took lethal damage and you died. This is actually a big buff, right? This is the amount of times that you're going to remount. It's not going to be twice as often, but all those times that you might have died, that you might have remounted, let's say it's about 1 in 8, you're just going to be 12% better now. Kled now spawns with full health. Good. You don't have to wait for the tick up. Jousting. Both of these cooldown. Wait. What happened to the other one? Alright, so it's not listed in these patch notes, but I saw it in a video earlier. What happened to this? Violent Tendencies is also supposed to have a buff.
Second?
Okay, so that'll be interesting to see whether or not it comes in. The cooldown going down by a second is fantastic because the largest way to beat Kled is to play in between his cooldowns. Other people with smaller cooldowns can get more trading windows in against you. If cooldowns are universally lowered, Violent Tendencies and Jousting by a second, that's going to make all of his trading a little bit easier. You're going to find more windows. Damage ratio up by 5% of your bonus AD. Okay. If this one's the smaller one, if Violent Tendencies is here, just like it says it is, I don't know why it's not here, and it's here. We're looking at the same page in theory. If Violent Tendencies is also cooldown, then it's a pretty massive buff. It also says we're buffing his damage and cooldowns to compensate. So this right here lets me think that it's probably supposed to be here, but the fact that it's not means they probably intentionally took it out, which means they were thinking about buffing it and then didn't. I don't know what to think about this, but obviously the big change is that Titanic and Sunfire can be much less viable, especially together. They're still going to be good. The build is still going to be good, but it shouldn't just be dominant the way it was. I think that all information that they get about Kled, it's tough because the one tricks are the ones who play Kled, and the one tricks play Kled way better than anybody else. So I take it with a grain of salt, whether or not he needed to be nerfed or buffed, or whether or not people just need to realize, like, hey, this is the way to build this champion. So what? Anyways, we'll see if something like Black Cleaver works its way into the build now, or Death Stance. Twitch. Our bolt distance now scales with bonus attack range. When Twitch uses his ult, his basic attacks become bolts that travel slightly farther than his attack range and deal damage to enemies in a straight path, similar to Kael's passive. This distance also used to be a flat number and will now scale with his bonus attack range. R Spray and Pray. Not rat-tat-tat-tat. The extra distance that Twitch's bolts travel now scales with his bonus attack. Okay, so same thing as the other one. Rapid Fire Cannon becomes part of is part of the build. That first coming out of the invisibility pop where you get the effect. Maybe it does something. I think it's just here for clarity. I don't think it necessarily needs to be here, although it could be interesting for like the AP builds and some of the on-hit builds, where maybe you get more of those effects. Samira R no longer cost mana. Few things feel worse than running out of mana for Samira's ult after getting her passive stacks ready. Yep. This mana cost was originally designed to control her heavy wave clear, but since that hasn't been a problem, it became a perfect opportunity to bring her back in style. Yeah, I agree. This didn't need to be here. This was already gated by cooldowns and other things. You didn't need to have a mana cost on top of it. It's a buff. It's not going to matter that much, although it's going to open up more windows, especially at level 6 when you're low on mana. Maybe you got there from trading at level 5 and you were low on mana. You had like 220 and you're like, shit, I can't quite do everything. Now you'll be able to definitely get that all in. And if you do just auto attack people, even if you're at 0 mana, you can still get an ultimate off. So it's a pretty big buff. I think Samira is actually in a better place than people realize, but a lot of people don't play her. She gets outranged, she gets outdistanced, and a lot of the enchanters in the bot lane that get played, the extra range and whatnot, is very tough for Samira to play with. You don't want to really be playing Samira unless you've got someone like Leona or Nautilus next to you that's creating these displacements for her to get her procs off. So I think she's a victim of the meta more than anything else. This should help give her a window. I don't think it's going to be enough to bring tank supports back, but we'll see. Urgot. Passive NW attacks now scale with bonus attack range. Just in case you wanted to run Lethal Tempo on Urgot. But it's probably still not a good idea, but whatever floats your boat. Spidery leg cyborg vehicle thingy. Lethal Tempo. Well, you proc it really quickly. That's a thing. Passive and W attacks. So your cannon legs are going to spray larger, maybe. If you go Lethal Tempo, I mean, there's just probably no way that press the attack's not better in all of those situations, and Conquer, of course. Autonomous attack range, yeah, same thing. Items. Archangel's Staff. Archangel's Staff isn't performing all that well, so we're lowering its cost to help. Well, that's because you misdescribed it in your patch notes. It's giving half as much ability haste as you promised it would. Combine. Holy crap. Okay, so this is a huge buff. 400 gold off the main cost. This thing's going to be an absolute house on Sona. I think Sona's going to be the #1 champion in the bot lane. It also gives us the window to put Crown of the Shattered Queen together with Archangel's Staff as a very inexpensive build for a grand total of what? This is going to be 2,600 now? 2,600 plus 2,800, 5,400 to get potentially fully online with Rise or Cassiopeia is a big deal. Axiom Arc, the most overrated item in the game. Axiom Arc is, I mean, it's good on Nocturne, well, let's be real. Axiom Arc is supposed to provide ability-based assassins an exciting teamfight output. However, it's been doing that a little too consistently. All right, slight reduction on the ultimate, don't care. It's still good on Nocturne. I still don't think it's very good on everybody else. Cosmic Drive is significantly overperforming. That's because you overtuned it. This item's fucking stacked. Ability power down by 10. Health down by 50. Holy shit, they're nerfing the crap out of this. Spell Dance move speed 20 to 10. Changed from 15 to 5. Holy crap. Okay, so this item... this item was best in slot. You just played Cosmic Drive. It was the best item. It's so good. It's like having an extra keystone. You got Phase Rush on top of the extra stats that it was giving. It was just all too much. That said, it still has 30 ability haste. It still has move speed. It's still going to give 15% bonus move speed early. It's still good. You should still play it, especially on champions like Cassiopeia. Crown of the Shattered Queen. We called it. It was the most broken item in the preseason. Crown of the Shattered Queen is another new mage item that has been doing too well on most champions, especially considering it's supposed to be a more defensive mythic option. That is bullshit. That's what we called in our 1123 rundown. I'll link it below. We said right there, it's going to be better on offense. It's going to be cheaper to buy, and it's giving you a shield so that you can just trade wantonly and not get hit back. It's going to be insane on aggressive champions. That's what made it so good. Ability power down by 10. And that's it. Okay, it's still great. This is on brand for making it less good aggressively because you're reducing the AP. There's still a lot of champions that just want to say, hey, I want this item for 400 less gold than its counterparts, and it's giving me a fat shield that I can use to trade with in lane. It's very, very good. I still think this is above average in slot, so continue buying Crown of the Shattered Queen. Even Shroud has all but eclipsed its sunnier counterpart, aka Locket, so we're bringing it in line with other support mythics. Well, that's because supports just drastically needed another fucking mythic, guys. The Locket was just not enough. These changes also apply to the Ornn Masterwork item Equinox. 12% for 5 seconds is reduced to 9% for 4 seconds. That's a pretty big nerf, especially the time, right? The amount of second spell rotation. You're not going to get like second Qs and Ws from Syndra, for example, or just your follow-up mages. It's going to create this window where they probably have to deal the damage in the same window as your Glacial Augment, which makes sense. It kind of makes it very visual. Very, very visual where the enhancements are going to come from. It's going to more evenly affect whether or not you buy Even Shroud or whether or not you buy Locket. I still think on Rakan you still want Shurelya's battle song. Even Shroud is going to be in the games where your team comp. Now you have to be aware of your team comp. If your team is the aggressive one and looking to engage, then you want Even Shroud. If your team is the one that gets engaged upon, then you can get the Locket. Frostfire Gauntlet. Frostfire Gauntlet is a punch above the other tank mythics. Yep, we called that one too. Offering a little of everything at a relatively low cost. We're bringing down its damage, which was a bit too high compared to Sunfire, including the health scaling. These changes also apply to the Masterwork item. Of course they do. Melee frost field damage. Ranged frost field damage. So 20 from 100 goes down by 8 to 15. That ticks up a decent amount. What's up? Getting your water? Okay. Going up, right? Runes. Conqueror. The nerf to Conqueror duration in 1121 was a little bit too restrictive. We're partially reverting the nerf and boosting its damage to make it comparable to other keystones like Grasp of the Undying, Fleet Footwork, and Lethal Tempo. Adaptive force per stack 2 to 4 is now 2 to 4.5. That's nothing. And duration, this is a big deal because it lets you proc it more often and open up kind of wider trader windows where you can kite a little bit. It's good. The buff will last a little bit longer. This means every sequence you do is a little bit longer. You can make the entire stack duration. Let's say you're hitting them 10 times and you wait 1 second longer every single time to hit them. You can make your entire fight last an extra 15 seconds as opposed compared to what it was before. This combined with the lethal tempo changes means that there should be some diversity in the top lane. I do still think that you're going to see your Irelias, Yones, Yasuos, and Tryndamirs are still going to be running lethal tempo. Hopefully Darius finally goes back and gets Conqueror again. Glacial Augment is the best keystone for many tanks by a large margin. Yep. We're nerfing it in a way that shouldn't affect its other users. The slow amount is probably they're just getting rid of the tank effect. It used to be bonus AD, heal and shield power, and 100 AP. Alright, so the slow amount's going down by 5%, going up by 1% per AP, going up 2% per 100 bonus AD, and going up 2%. Okay. Well, I mean, it's worse. It's being nerfed across the board, which it needed, but it's also being nerfed by 5% for tanks, whereas it's being nerfed by 3% for other runes. But once they get into second items, it's going to be closer to the same. Appropriate fix, Glacial Augment's still insane. You should still play it. Lethal Tempo is a little bit too strong for some melee champions. It's also failing to fulfill its attack speed fantasy for ranged users. That's because the gap is way too long. So we're shifting some of the power from its bonus attack range for them. Melee attack speed from 15 down to 13. All right, we called 12, but 13 still pretty good. This is still going to be dominating in the top lane. Ranged attack speed per stack goes from 5 to 7, buffed by 2%. Ranged bonus attacks range at full stacks from 100 down to 75. Okay, so overall nerf. Ranged is just displacing 25 of its bonus attack range and turning into 2 extra attack speed per stack. This is definitely something that they prefer, especially since it means you get to the 75 sooner, and that lets you get more hits in. This is not enough. This is still going to be insanely strong in the top lane. I believe 12. We said 12 is going to be the magic number. 12 is going to be the magic number. They're not going to reduce it from 13 to 12. They're probably going to go 13 all the way down to 10, and then they'll rebuff it up to 12. That's my guess. Predator, OPOP. Now that the dust from its 11-18 buff has settled, it's become clear that the powerful version of Predator is undercutting counterplay. Yeah, you just do it for one-sided spells. We're reverting that change to address this, especially since Ingenious Hunter's buffs in 1121 helped Predator's viability considerably. Maximum move speed goes down by 15%. That's insane. Ramp up time goes way... Wow, this is a heavy nerf. Okay. Is it still going to be good? It's still going to be really good on someone like Veigar in the mid lane. It's still going to be good on Singed, although now the extra ramp up speed, you might just settle for just your Chem Tank and your Rylai's. You might prefer to get Aftershock so you can get in the middle of their team. It'll be definitely a big hit to Gragas in the jungle. Also Fiddlesticks coming out of the jungle. The junglers are going to feel this the most, the champions that were still using it well in lanes are gonna still like it, but there tends to be other options. But Predator on Veigar is just absolutely nuts. Dragons. The temporarily doubled selection of Chemtech and Hextech Rift terrains has been removed. Finally, because we've seen way too many Chem maps. There's just too much. It's almost like frustrating to play that on that map. Chemtech Drake, the standard Chemtech Drake buff is notably weak, while conversely, the Soul is too strong. Yeah, the Soul had the highest win rate by a lot. We're also adding a visual helper so you can identify Chemtech zombies better. Good, yes, because man, did it feel bad to watch people cast their ultimates on zombies. Chemtech, or to cast ultimates on Hextech zombies. Or to cast ultimates on Hextech zombies. I don't know anyone who did that. Champions briefly revive for a second life for 4 seconds and deal 40% less damage. Okay, good. Man, it's the 5 seconds was just insanely long. Champions revived by Chemtech Dragon Soul will now have a zombie state indicator on their health bar. Thank you. Make it like bright glowing red or something. I don't know. Grants up to 6 bonus damage per stack, only if they have more health than you. The thing is also, like, people don't know how or to play around this, that you could extend fights. If you had 2 of these buffs, you could say, like, yeah, we can keep on taking this fight. They would just play the same. If they were losing the fight, they would stop fighting. They wouldn't like sit around to use their extra 10% damage. So it's just like one of those weird buffs. It also just doesn't help tanks at all. I wish they didn't give this one. This run's pretty cool. I like the soul effect. I wish that this effect did something reasonable. Hextech Drake. On the contrary, while Hextech Dragon Soul seems to be in a reasonable place, the standard Hextech Drake buff could use a boost. That's because ability haste sucks. Worst stat in the game. 5% and 5% now becomes 6 and 6. Okay. Sweet. Ultimate Spellbook, we don't care. ARAM balances, we don't care. Bug fixes and quality of life. Sometimes you find some gems in here. Health bar VFX have been added to player health bars to indicate when shields, guardian angel, and other health-related effects activate. Good. Happy anniversary. Ari-versary. Dynasty Ari's splash art has a new look. Sweet. VFX update Varus. Each of Varus' skins have received a visual effect update to varying degrees. SFX, alright, we don't care. Fixed a bug where Kindred could not mark the Chemtech or Hextech Drakes. Makes sense. They put them in and they weren't coded in. Fixed a bug. Actually, this is probably not a bug. This is probably just they forgot to do it. But call it a bug and you're covered. Fixed a bug where champions would briefly flicker at their destination Hexgate before they arrive. Okay. York's Mistwalkers, Elise Spiderlings, and Bard's Meeps will now arrive at destination Hexgates with their champions, not before them. Good. Fiddlestick's effigies from all over the map will sadly no longer warp through Hexgates with him. I never saw it happen. If someone has a clip, please post it, because that's insane. That would have been so funny to watch an army of ghost Fiddlesticks come through. Death recaps have been fixed to correctly report damage dealt by Dragon Soul buffs. Great. Fixed a bug where the detection radius indicator around your stealth champion would sometimes disappear. Fixed a bug where wards placed over terrain near towers could sometimes reveal stealth champions. Interesting. I wonder if people were abusing that. Fixed a bug where control wards would sometimes reveal stealth champions inside Chemtech zones. Stealth champions will shimmer properly upon taking damage. Basically, they screwed up everything in the zones. They fixed a bug where champions would not get sudden impacts bonus magic penetration. Yeah, right? Because they were setting it up spell by spell rather than like, I don't know, some more simple way to get it universally across the entire game. Now everyone's going to get sudden impact. That's interesting. Sudden impact was probably low key, just better than everything else. And I never thought of it, and I'm upset. Control wards will no longer erroneously play reveal VFX around invisible enemy champions, and conversely, invisible champions will no longer erroneously play revealed. Kiana's green, Elemental Wraith, and LeBlanc's passive, mirror image invisibility effects, and Chemtech. God, it's all about Chemtech zones. Holy shit. Alright. Abilities that grant true sight of enemies, such as Nidalee's passive or Sonic Wave, will properly reveal invisible units again. Fixed a bug where if Talon's Shadow Assault and and targets an enemy with his ranged Noxian Diplomacy while he is rooted, his ultimate's blades would incorrectly converge on his target rather than his current location. I didn't even think you could cast this while you're rooted. And I don't think you can. I don't know, that's kind of bizarre. Fixed a visual bug where Talon's abilities would falsely appear to apply his passive. Blades and stacks on targets with active spell shields. Good. Talon's melee Q, Noxian Diplomacy cooldown will no longer fully restart if his ability becomes invalid during its cast. Now matches Kha'Zix's Void Spike behavior. God, it's all Talon, man. Talon's ranged Q, Noxian Diplomacy cooldown has been fixed to restart upon initiating its dash, not upon completing it. Talon's E, Assassin's Path, will no longer get interrupted by hard CC when he has an active spell shield. Thank you. Fixed a bug where Sheen's Spellblade passive would interfere with Skarner's E fracture cooldown reduction. That's, you know what, we noticed that a long time ago when they first gave us Divine Sunderer, and we went Divine Sunderer Skarner, and we're like, what the hell is going on? Something's weird here. Fixed a bug where Talia would not be able to use her passive rock surfing for the rest of the game if someone broke her Banshee's Veil while she was rock surfing. What? Fixed a bug that sometimes caused issues when you cast an ability at the same location as your champion and cursor. My God. I mean, I wish they would be a little bit less vague so we can see exactly what the fix is and everything that came with it. Fixed a bug if Mordekaiser uses his R, Realm of Death, while Vi is pursuing him with cease and desist. She would be stuck in her ultimate's pursuit state while he returned from Death's Realm. Yeah, that would suck. Fixed several bugs with Malzahar's passive Void Shift, shield that would sometimes consume or refresh it incorrectly, let me guess, upon entering Chemtech zones. Fixed a bug where Aphelios would sometimes get stuck in an ape pose if slain shortly after initiating a basic attack. Weird. Fixed a bug where owning a Frozen Heart would incorrectly count as being in combat, nullifying effects such as Boots of Mobility's passive. Fixed a bug where Akshan sometimes could not recast going rogue if he was low on mana, even though his second cost has no mana cost. Wow. Fixed a bug where Rengar could sometimes cast Battle Roar during Zhonya's Hourglass Stasis. I don't doubt that Rengar mains knew about this and they were abusing it because sometimes we saw just weird effects going on. Fixed several bugs that could occur while possessing Ivern or Akshan with Viego's passive. Yeah, interesting. Upcoming skins and chromas. We know we love. Oh, this looks pretty cool, man. Debonair Zed. Hello. Wow. Debonair Draven. I feel like this is too close to prime time. Debonair Leona. Why is this Debonair? These should be Crime City. Why aren't these all Crime City? They said they were going to give us more Crime City skins. Debonair Malzahar and LeBlanc. Why did they have to put these ones together in one splash? I don't know. Debonair, I mean, this is clearly an Underworld party. This is Crime City. This is not Debonair. Debonair Brand Prestige Edition. That could look insanely cool. We'll see. And that's that. That's 1124 in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps the channel out a lot. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep it surreal. Peace.